In the next set of problems, we're going to have to use another step in the elimination process, which is multiplication. So let's start off at the bottom of your worksheet with problem 1. So on your handout, copy problem 1 from the bottom half of your worksheet in the section titled Elimination Using Multiplication. Okay, in this situation, you can see that I have 2x and 3x. Neither of these will eliminate. I have negative y and negative 2y. Again, neither of these will eliminate. For the elimination method to work, I've got to have the same coefficient with opposite signs. So this is where I can use multiplication to help get the coefficients to where they are the same with opposite signs. So I can either try to eliminate the x terms or I can try to eliminate the y terms. Either one is acceptable. If I look at this particular set of problems, here I have negative y and here I have negative 2y. If I wanted to cancel out the negative 2, ask yourself, what's the opposite of negative 2? The opposite is positive 2. So if this y term happened to be a positive 2, I could get these to eliminate. Well, how could I change this into a positive 2? If I can think of a number to multiply by negative y to turn into a positive 2, then I can eliminate it. So for negative, that's an invisible 1. For negative 1 times some number to equal positive 2, ask yourself, what would that number be? Well, if I multiply negative 1 times a negative 2, would I get positive 2? Well, a negative times a negative is a positive, and 1 times 2 is 2. So yes, if I were to multiply a negative 1 by some number, and that number is negative 2, I could turn this into a positive 2. So the reason we're having this discussion is I can multiply the entire equation by negative 2 so that I can turn this into a number that I can eliminate. So I'm going to use the distributive property and I'm going to multiply, and that should be a negative 2, all the way across. So here's the way this works. Negative 2 times positive 2x is negative 4x. Negative 2 times invisible negative 1y, the negatives cancel and 2 times 1 becomes positive 2y. Negative 2 times negative 1, the negatives cancel again, and 2 times 1 equals positive 2. So I have picked a number that I could multiply this entire equation by using distributive property, all in the effort to turn this negative y into the opposite of negative 2y. So I've done that. This is now a positive 2y. Now I just recopy the second equation. Just rewrite exactly what you see. So I have 3x minus 2y equals 1. Now the y terms will cancel. So now I can eliminate with addition. Negative 4 plus 3, well, a negative 4 and a 3 give me a negative invisible 1x. The 2y minus 2y have now canceled. They're eliminated. And 2 plus 1 is 3. Divide by the negative 1. I get x equals negative 3. Now take the x that equals negative 3 and substitute that into either one of your equations. It does not matter. So I'm going to plug it into the first equation. So instead of 2x, I'm going to write 2 times negative 3 minus y equals negative 1. So 2 times negative 3 now becomes negative 6 minus y equals negative 1. Solve for y by adding 6 on both sides. Bring down your negative with your y. Negative 1 plus 6 is the same as 6 take away 1, which equals 5. Divide by negative 1 because you have invisible 1 there, which just means change the negative y to a positive and change the positive 5 to a negative. So now I know the value of x and y. So my solution, the x is negative 3 and the y coordinate is negative 5. Now let's look at an example where I might have to multiply both equations by some number to get them to cancel out. Okay, let's look at problem 4. This is also going to require elimination using multiplication because if you look, we have 2x and 3x in my two equations. Those will not cancel. I have negative 4y and positive 3y. Those will not cancel. So I have to ask myself, what can I multiply these equations by so that I can get these to cancel out? So I'm going to have to multiply both of these equations to come up with something that will cancel out. Now notice that I have a negative 4 and a positive 3. So just ask yourself, what is a multiple of 4 and 3? 4 and 3 both go into what number? Well, 4 and 3 both go into 12. So if I could change these into a 12 and have a negative 12 and a positive 12, I could get them to cancel out. So let's copy these two equations. Okay, so I have opposite signs. That's good. So ask yourself, what do I have to multiply a 4 by to turn it into a 12? Well, I would multiply it by a 3. So I'm going to use the distributive property and multiply the 3 by each term of the equation. So 3 times 2x gives me 6x. 3 times negative 4y gives me the negative 12y that I'm looking for. And 3 times negative 22 gives me negative 66. Now I need to repeat this process with the second equation. Remember, I want to turn this into a 12 so that it will cancel out with the negative 12. So ask yourself, what do I multiply a 3 by to turn it into a 12? That's going to be 4. So I'm going to distribute the 4 times each term on the inside of the equation. So 4 times 3x gives me 12x. 4 times 3y gives me the positive 12y that I'm looking for, which will allow these to cancel out soon. And then 4 times negative 30 will give me positive 120. Now that I have a negative 12y and a positive 12y that will cancel out and eliminate, I can add these two equations. With everything lined up, I'm ready to add. 6x plus 12x gives me 18x. The negative 12y and the positive 12y will now cancel. They are eliminated. Bring down the equals. And then 120 minus 66 is going to give me 54. Divide both sides by 18. The 18s cancel out and I get x equals 3. Now that I know x equals 3, substitute that into either one of these equations. Since I always go with the first equation, I'll go with the second one this time. So take the second equation and substitute x with positive 3. So I get 3 times, substitute the positive 3, and then recopy the plus 3y equals 30. Simplify, 3 times 3 is 9. Now solve your two-step equation. Subtract 9 on both sides. Bring down your 3y. Simplify your 30 minus 9. Divide both sides by 3. And y equals 7. So my solution, x equals 3 when y equals 7.